Hello everyone, it's Kari, and last week I brought you this card from the Hedgehog Hollow February kit, and I promised some more ideas using that two-step stencil. So today I'm going to show you that it is awesome to just use one layer of this stencil. Here you can see both of the layers. I just moved the larger layer to the side here, and I have the inside layer piece put all over the front of this card using some removable adhesive. I am just going to ink on some pinks and yellows, and I'm going to make it extra dark inside the little pieces where the accents are. I did find that I had to hold a few of those pieces down a little bit when I used these blender brushes, but overall it worked out pretty well, and look how beautiful this reveal is right here. Using those inside pieces of the stencil is just a really pretty way to make a background. If you get a little of that removable adhesive, you can use this adhesive eraser just to get some of that off, and it worked pretty well for me. For this second one, I was inspired by Amy Rasavi, who created an entire page filled with a stencil. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It's a full-size piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to stick the first layer of the stencil in the middle. So you saw that I measured out the middle, so I tried to keep it centered here, and I used some purple tape around the entire stencil so that I wouldn't accidentally get some ink over the edge. Now I'm just going to ink on some distress inks in a rainbow of colors around the entire thing. Between colors, I'm just going to kind of brush off that darker pink here for this one. I do have a separate brush for yellow so that it doesn't get contaminated. So I'll use that separate brush here and ink that on, and then I go back and I blend with the other color as well to try to get a nice blend between all the colors. And I'll just go through to create a rainbow, and I've got some green here. I'll list all the colors below if you're interested, but these are just the distress inks that I love to create rainbow colors with. I'll ink on that green, and then of course for the blue I'm going to use the turquoise, which is peacock feathers, and the last color is the purple. I'll carefully remove that purple tape to reveal this beautiful color wheel of all those colors, and now I'm going to cut them down to card size 4¼ by 5½ inch panels. You basically get the entire thing, but all of them are in the corner of each of the panels, so that's really kind of neat. We will create some cards with that a little bit later. This next idea is to use foil to accent with your stencils, and I have this transfer gel here and also a MINC toner pen. The transfer gel has recently been replaced with the Transfer Duo, Gel Duo, which is one that you can use with a laminator or the MINC machine, or you don't have to use heat with it. So I will definitely be getting some of that as soon as I use up this Deco foil transfer gel. I am going to just scrape some of that off there to try to make it even. When I did that though, I created a spot in the center that wasn't fully covered, and I'll show you that later. For this part, I'm just going to take the centers and color it with the toner pen here. I had to get it started by pressing it down onto the paper to get that toner marker working, and now I'm going to just color the inside of each of those pieces with this toner pen so that I can add some foil there too. This is the same panel, by the way, that I put the Deco foil gel on. So there is that. I'm going to set that aside to dry while I work on the next one. This next idea, number 3, is to try some embossing powder. Now, embossing powder is really neat because you can layer it on top of each other. I am going to start this first layer with the layer 1 of the stencil by putting some Wow Sticky Embossing ink on there, and then I'm going to add some glitter embossing powder. This one's called Pink Fizz, and it's definitely one of my favorites. It's very bright and vibrant and a really fun color. So I will add that, and then I'm going to heat set it with a heat tool. I had a little extra of the embossing powder on the edges here, so I just brushed that extra off with a dry paintbrush. And there is the first set. Now I'm going to take the second layer and I'm going to add some additional embossing powder on the inside. I have these two Wow tools. This one is the roller ball here, and this is the brand new Seth Apter brush that just came out this year at Creativation. I'm going to try this one because I haven't used it yet, and I'm just going to paint some of that on. I wasn't quite sure how thick to put this on, but I realized that I might have done it a little bit too thick. You just need a really thin layer of this for it to work. And I'll show you what I mean in just a minute. So I painted that on all the inside pieces here, and now I'm going to remove those pieces and add some gold embossing powder. This is the Pearl Gold Sparkle, another one of my favorite colors, and I thought it would be really pretty with that pink. And so then I went ahead and heat set that as well. Some of them were kind of a little bit extra blobby, you can see here, because I put that Wow tool on a little bit thick. So word to the wise, just use a little bit of that. The fourth idea here is to use some metallics gel and layer that on top of each other. Here I'm going to take the black ice metallics gel, add it to the first layer. If you haven't seen my video that I've done a full reveal of all the metallics gels, I'll link it here if I remember to do that, so you can watch what all the colors are of this gel and see me make a bunch of cards with it. This is the black ice, and I am going to just let that dry, and I'm going to go wash these tools right away. Okay, here we are back at the one I put the Deco foil gel on and also the MINC toner pen, and I am going to use some foil. I'll have some rose gold for the toner pen just as an accent there on those. And then I'm going to use some turquoise foil on this other edge here. When I take this to the MINC machine, I'm going to put it inside this carrier sheet, and I will show you the reveal, and it's a little bit disappointing. I am so sorry. I did not realize that I didn't get that full Deco foil gel all through the middle there. This part turned out pretty good, but look at that. Yeah, I missed a couple spots. I did get a little extra on the edge here, but that is so easy to just whisk away with a X-Acto knife. Super simple. I decided that I'm going to try this again. So just to show you, I do keep my mistakes in my videos every once in a while so I can show you that they are fixable. I'm going to take a little more of that Decofoil gel and add it here and set it aside to dry. While I was doing that, I added a little more toner pen as well to the rose gold one, just so I could see if I could fix those spots that I missed. I set that aside to dry before I added more foil to both of those sides, but through the magic of editing, you get to see right away, look, that one worked. And this one worked as well. It's just a little bit bumpy. So not as smooth, better to do it smooth the first time. I have some toner paper here that I just printed with my printer, and I'm going to take the same rose gold foil to foil this die cut thanks to finish off this card. I think it's time that we start making some cards, so I'm just going to glue that right onto the middle there. And this is such a unique and fun card with some touches of foil and color. I love it. The next way is number 5, to use some gel pens to add some accents. I have here a gold gel pen, and I'm just going to take it to the center of those accents for this orange and yellow panel. And then I also had a green gel pen, which is more kind of glittery, a little bit metallic, I think. And I'm going to add that to the other one. This is the green panel with a little bit of yellow also to it. And I thought that green looked really good with both the green and the yellow. This is some Stickles glitter glue that I'm adding to this panel here. I kind of included this in with the metallics gel and other mediums as one of my ways. This is very simple to do. You just add a little bit, pull that off, and allow it to dry. It worked out. Look how pretty this is. There you go. So this color here is called Waterfall, and look how great that looks on the pinks, purples, and a little bit of orange there too. Back to the metallics gel, I'm going to add the second layer using this color here, and it's the Champagne Mist. I thought it would be a really great accent on that black ice. I'm trying to get a smooth amount here. When I pulled this off the first time, it was just too thick. So I added that back on, and instead of doing a thick layer, I tried to make it as thin as possible on this one. So there is just a little bit I'm adding with a palette knife. So I had a nice thin point there, and I just smoothed it out and tried to pull off as much as I could. And this turned out a little bit messier than I wanted it to. So full disclosure, I think next time I would probably do even less. I don't know if you've noticed, but this is probably my least colorful card of the bunch. It's black and champagne colored, and I usually go for the brighter colors, but I wanted to have a variety here so that you could see. I did add some green pearls, dark green pearls, while that champagne mist was drying so that it would stick completely to the metallics gel. And now I'm adding a die cut hay sentiment here, and I stamped a sentiment from the stamp set that came in the Hedgehog Hollow February kit. It says catch up soon. I thought this would work really well together with this understated color card, and this would be a great one, maybe a masculine card or to a girlfriend that's more serious. I don't know. To me, it kind of reminds me of a leather jacket. Kind of cool like that. Maybe your cool friends. I'm adding some foam squares to the back of that sentiment, and I'll just add that right there. There you go. You can kind of see that metallics gel as it glistens. And now let's work on some of these more colorful cards. For this one, I added some lime green gemstones to all of those. And we'll come back to that card in a minute because I had to think about how I wanted to finish that card off. And so for this one, we're going to add a thank you die cut. I had this already sitting on my desk waiting to be used. I thought it would be perfect for this background. And to finish it off, I'm using some Nuvo jewel drops in pink and yellow, depending on what the background color was. And I'm just adding 3 little Nuvo drops to each of those teardrops. It adds such a nice texture and a little bit of interest, a little more interest to this card. These do dry transparent, so they're really, really pretty. I just tap the back of the card a little to flatten them out, and there is our panel. Look at how cute. I really like the Nuvo drops with this one. Now over to this one, I had another thank you in the orange and yellow to match this one. I'm going to add some glitter tape in gold and attach that thank you die, and then I'll just add a few of these gemstones to finish off this particular panel. And I'll trim off the ends of that glitter tape so that it lines up exactly with this card panel. For the heat embossed panel, I'm going to use one of these stamps from the kit from February as well, with the beautiful handwriting done by Jess. She did a great job, and look at how great that sister looks inside of this panel. I added some gemstones, iridescent gemstones, to each of those teardrops, and it kind of does cover up some of the extra blobs that I had. I mean, it does. It covers that up so that you don't really see that. So that was a really good answer to that problem. This one I'm going to finish off with a hay die cut with some green glitter cardstock, and I will go down and add I Appreciate You in ombre ink. So it's darkest at the top and then it gets lighter at the bottom. Are you ready for a clean and simple card? I don't make a lot of these, but I thought this one with the stickles just needed a simple thinking of you, and I matted it on some pink cardstock. So super sweet. And here's a look at all of the cards using the 2-layer stencils. I used some gel pens, some glitter. Here's the embossing powder, the metallics gel with some pearls, a simple 1-layer stencil background using that 2nd layer here, and a few Nuvo drops. So pretty. And then also our foiled card with a foiled sentiment. This uses foil 2 ways, once on the inside stencil and once on the first stencil. And then this one with also the gel pen here and some glitter tape. I hope you enjoyed all of these projects today. I sure enjoyed making them with you. And I hope you try some of these layering ideas using a 2-step stencil. You can use these with any of the stencils you have as well, of course. This one features the stencil that came in the Hedgehog Hollow February kit, and most of the stamped sentiments are also from that kit. I added some of the dies of my own from my stash. For more information, head on over to my blog. I have all the supplies listed below as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate your likes and your comments. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.